right? The conversation around leadership is very, very critical, especially now. When you be at they do say that, Africa's problem is leadership. Leadership. And I always ask myself, how do we fix this problem? I have a guest in the studio. We have a guest. Baby and I have a guest in the studio sitting in the loft with us. And it's around, the manuscript. Should we have a manuscript? And what kind of manuscript would we need in order to create or to groom leaders who are going to ensure that the world is a better place? So Bishop Dr. Mark Vaughn is the founder of Faith to Faith Ministries. But the accolades, Mami Mao, the person who's going to talk on leadership, and Mami Mao, a few of the things that he has done. He has PhD in electrical engineering. He is also a scientist, and he's a global visionary. Yes, he's also passionate about leadership. And Bishop, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you.
I appreciate being here.
Is this the first time you're in Ghana?
15 years serving in Ghana, actually. So
Awesome.
We're celebrating the leadership that we've been able to serve here in the Republic since 2008.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What made you become passionate about leadership?
Service. I don't think that it's possible to actually be a true leader unless you have a heart to serve. And so one of the things that I have consistently had a heart for is people. And in order for there to be an understanding of what people actually need, you have to be in front of so that you are able to provide resources, guidance, and cast vision. And so it really does boil down to having a sincere concern for lifting the condition of people. That's what leadership is all about.
Like I said in my introduction, I mean, especially now, a lot of people that you will have a conversation with will say that our problem is leadership. Our problem is leadership. Are leaders born or are leaders groomed? Is a question that everybody asks all the time. How does leadership come about? Why, or in what process or in which instance do we say this person is a leader?
Excellent question. And so I believe that leaders are nurtured. I believe that there is a nature that comes with a heart to serve, but then you have to be formed into the place of leadership that you are called to. And so leadership looks like a different manifestation depending upon what the need is. Mm-hmm. And so I believe that when we have a crisis of leadership, it really boils down to forgetting that you have to be someone who is willing to be not only for the people, but in front of the people. And so folks will follow a leader when they understand what it is that's in it for them. And so at the end of the day, there has to be this awareness of why is it that what you are inviting me to follow you into is going to make me better. And I think sometimes we think that, okay, you shouldn't be concerned about what's in it for me. Mm-hmm. You want to know what's in it for me. That is going to inspire you to actually put your support around a particular man or woman in leadership. But if you don't know what they are driving towards, then it's going to feel like it's a fad. Today I'm going this direction, tomorrow I'm going that direction. But if you know that it is going to be aligned with what I believe I am called to do, then that leader is going to be able to be one that you can look to for guidance, inspiration, information consistently.
All right. I love Bibi too.
Yes. I would want to talk about the leader.
Yes.
You rightfully said something as everyone would follow someone that or will look up to a person that they know that has to give what they need. Mm-hmm. Now, when does a leader or when does a person that wants to lead a certain following, when does that person put down their ideas or their service? I mean, sometimes you follow someone and you follow them because of what they have promised to do, what you have seen them how you saw them serve at a particular moment. And then you follow these leaders, and at a point, they stop serving. They stop acting the way that you want to follow. So then how do you note, how do you note that this person is not a leader? Or then how does that leader himself stay consistent?
Good question. And so one of the things that I have done consistently, and I believe that it is by the grace of God, is I'm here in Ghana. We also minister in Liberia.
Okay.
Ghana is not Liberia. And so when I am looking to serve in Liberia, I first have to find out, what do you need? And then I check in with the folks, the pastors in the fellowship that I am leading in Liberia. For example, are your needs being met? If your needs are not being met, then I am not the leader that I came to the republic to be. Same thing in Ghana. When I am serving pastors and other leaders here, it is important for me to check in to make sure it's not just a checkbox. I showed up, I had some trainings, and then moved on. But what difference did it make? And so in order for you to know that you are effectively leading, those who are following have to give you a report card.
Okay.
And so how is it that you are actually getting graded on the difference that you say you're here to make? And if people ultimately say it was a nice event, but when it was all over, I was not changed, I was not elevated, then it really kind of falls short. And so I think that we have to be willing to hold our leaders accountable to be making a difference. And if they aren't, then we also have to ask the question, is your leadership time for a
Benefiting
shift?
us.
Right, and if it's not benefited, I know that it's in the news. Nigeria has their elections coming up
Yeah.
on Saturday. I know Ghana has your elections presidential next year, as do we in the United States. You have the opportunity to assess the current leadership and decide, am I still being served by what it is that you have said you were going to do? And if you are not, then I have a responsibility to hold a referendum about your effectiveness and decide, will we keep going with you, or is it time for a change?
Okay.
Time for change.
This very one. Let's tap into a bit of knowledge. I know that we would have to meet you elsewhere to sit, but we are grateful that you're here, so you could enlighten us a bit more about a leader.
Yeah.
Now, the qualities of a leader. We know that when you become a leader, you have to make the toughest calls. You have to make the toughest decisions.
Yep.
And sometimes those decisions you have to make don't sit down well with the following. But you being a leader knows that, you know perfectly that, okay, this is going to be difficult for my people to follow, but it's going to be beneficial at the end of the day or when it's done. And when I make this choice, everybody is going to go against me as the leader, but this is what is right for them. Now, how do you communicate that as a leader? Or then what are some of the qualities that a leader has to have for someone to say that, well, he is leading, we really do not know where he's taking us, but we trust him that wherever we are going to get to is going to be good?
You just really highlighted a key factor in that scenario. You said we trust him. And you don't get to trust your leader without relationship. When we started coming to Ghana, it was important for me to establish relationship. Exactly, and that built trust. When I started coming to Liberia 20 years ago, it was during the war. And that act alone, our U.S. State Department said, do not go to Liberia. Counselors back in the States who have traveled as missionaries to Africa, I would not go to Liberia, but I knew that God had a calling to send us to Liberia. The fact that we showed up during a war that demonstrated to the people where our heart was. We weren't trying to establish a kingdom. We weren't showing up to try to establish ministries that would cause whatever was happening on the ground to be nullified. They saw that we cared. And so the key word that you said is trust. Now, I believe that it's important for leaders to have courage. And that, I think, is one of the things that we have a dearth of in leadership today. We are driven by polls, we are driven by opinion, we are driven by public opinion that ebbs and flows today and tomorrow. If you are not courageous, if you do not, I call it, stand by the fact that you as the leader have the D. You are the decision maker, and you have to stand by that, good, bad, or otherwise. We have a conference that we are here to conduct starting today and tomorrow on leadership. And one of the scripture references that I'm sharing is, oh yeah.
Okay. So it's happening today.
Yeah.
Today and tomorrow, 9 a.m. Oh, okay. So right from here, you
Going
starting.
right there.
Okay, 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. And it's Changed Life Baptist Church, North Kaneshi.
Yes.
Okay, not so far from here. Is that you and your wife?
That is myself and my wife, yes.
All right. And Bishop Anthony?
He's the president of our Liberia Fellowship.
All right. And Reverend Samuel Damte
He's
is
the
there.
national president of Ghana.
Lovely. Reverend Paddy Odoi and then Reverend Joe. So they're all going to be there.
Absolutely.
So this is a process of grooming, or changing the whole concept of leadership.
Absolutely.
Now, in creating that manuscript, just before we wrap up, in creating that manuscript of how we're going to raise leaders, what are some of the processes? I know most of us are going to be there just so that we can get more in-depth understanding. But for those watching us right now who perhaps won't be able to make it, in creating a manuscript to raise leaders, where do we start from?
I think that you start again with, am I motivated by service? That really is critical. I know that in Africa and around the world, if your goal as a leader is to create a space that you will be served as opposed to a space from which you will serve, yeah, then the motivation is off. You get into position and then you have to fight and scratch and claw to stay in position. So your focus becomes you. It does not become, what am I doing for the people? And so I think that people have to check their motivation. I ordain, I license, I elevate, but I watch the track record. At the end of the day, are you more concerned about making sure that people are left better than when you found them, or are you interested in using them as a stepping stone for you to make a name for yourself? If that's the case, you're not destined to be a leader. You're looking to be somebody who is a controller. And so I think that the manuscript begins with a heart to serve, and preparation. You do have to have the skill set that is necessary for you to actually move forward and meet the needs of the people.
I love that.
Okay, so again, today, 9 a.m., it's happening 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Exactly. When they say 9 a.m., just said 9 a.m. Drew 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Drew 9 a.m.
Of course.
Not 2. No, I'm sorry. So 2 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry. So, it's happening today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then, Change Life Baptist, North Kaneshi. Inti, Bomodiana Nako, Inti Anope, Nyadaja Nako, Otia says, would do on more cry, yeah, mid morning, Muhonomo, just call Nenya, nya, Bibi, Efrimo, just get one thing right from what's happening, the conference that's happening. In Tinobet me a friend numbers so I edit to screen this and then make sure say ubedru honum. Ade ba ko a waka ya me de e bi o kan na want it. Say uyo bi a wo pese wo som ana if you want to be a leader. Ade ba ko a wo say wo ye ne say wo besesa nipa na wo kwoto wo a wo pese wo ye How do you say that? Wo pese wo som wo mo no.
Yeah.
Tebia wokoto se wo mu wo mu no be firi honom no na they are better.
They are better.
Enti se wokoto nipa no se omutibia ni na enye na by the time you're leaving they are worse or then bibia ansasaya it doesn't mean say you a good leader. Oka bibi so say wo call Liberia no omokoye omankosa sorry I wanted to ask but we don't have more time. You be share 9 a.m. because a lot of these religious bodies would go into a space and not go to serve, go to change things just because you care. There's flood somewhere. Yeah, baba, help that save lives and rescue people. But we're going with the doctrine. If you're not a Christian, we are not. You are not the faithful. If you're not this, but they go in. How do you turn a non-believer to a believer? Is when you care and show that person that despite the whole difference and all of that, you are there as a human being and to serve. And you know, if you want to know more about that, don't miss the conference that is happening today, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. At North Kanishi, sorry, Namakata Change Life Baptist. You know, so make sure you are there. Go and learn a thing or two to help you, especially if you're a leader. If you are leading 2 people, you're a leader.
Yes.
If you're leading 3, you're a leader. If you're leading 1,000, you're a leader. So long as people are looking up to you to make a difference, to make them better from wherever they find themselves, it means you're leading someone. So that is it for you. Like I always say, a word to the wise, go and learn for yourself. Don't make somebody call you a bad leader. That's not right. That's not right. Okay,
Bishop,
so
thank you so very much for passing through. We'll definitely.
that's it. Well, come on, what's happening?
That's good.
What's what
That's
has
good.
it? All right,
All
sir.
right.